Yes, children, in the previous video, we have read that William Douglas was tossed into the deep end of the swimming pool by a 18 years old boy. He was so much frightened, and at that time, while moving down to the swimming pool, he thought of a plan that he will make a big jump to come to the surface. Now, let's read the next paragraph. It seemed a long way down. Those 9 feet were more like 90, and before I touched bottom, my lungs were ready to burst. But when my feet hit bottom, I summoned all my strength, I gathered all my strength, and made what I thought was a great spring upwards. I imagined I would bob to the surface like a cork. Instead, I came up slowly. So while moving down, he thought of a plan that he will jump like a spring. So he made all his efforts to jump like a spring. And here he said that I imagined I will jump like a cork. Cork is a thing used to close the bottles. So cork is very light. So that's why he said that I will jump like a cork. Coming to the next page. I opened my eyes and saw nothing but water, water that had a dirty yellow tinge to it. So when he was inside the swimming pool, he could see only the yellowish color of the water, because when sun rays fall on the water, the person inside the water can see the yellow tinge of water. I grew panicky. Panicky here means he was so much scared as well as confused. I reached up as if to grab a rope, and my hands clutched only at water. I was suffocating. I tried to yell, I tried to shout, but no sound came out. Then my eyes and nose came out of the water, but not my mouth. Now look here carefully. My eyes and nose came out of the water, but not my mouth. I flailed at the surface of the water. I flailed because his eyes and nose were out, but mouth was still inside the water. So he flailed at the surface of the water, means started moving arms and legs in uncontrolled manner to come out of the water. Swallowed and choked. His throat choked. He swallowed water. I tried to bring my legs up, but they hung as dead weights, paralyzed and rigid. A great force was pulling me under. I screamed, but only the water heard me. I had started on the long journey back to the bottom of the pool. Now his body parts, legs, especially legs, were paralyzed, rigid, and he compared it that legs were like a dead weight. They are of no use. Legs were become powerless. So he felt as if some force is pulling him under the water. He tried to cry out, but only water heard. Nobody else out in the swimming pool can hear his voice. So he started on the long journey back to the bottom of the pool. For second time, he started his journey back to the pool. I struck at the water as I went down, expending, expending, just a minute. I struck at the water as I went down, expending my strength as one in a nightmare fights an irresistible force. Now he started striking his hands in the water because he was going down. Now the author has compared the movement of his hands like as if somebody has seen a horrible dream at night, and he can't accept that dream and he wanted to come out of that horrible dream. So the person puts lot of efforts to come out by moving his hands. In the same way, he has written, expending my strength as one in a nightmare fights horrible dreams an irresistible force. So I had lost all my breath, my lungs ached, pained, my head throbbed, I was getting dizzy. Head throbbed means as if somebody's hammering on the head. I was getting dizzy, he was fainting, but I remembered the strategy. I would spring from the bottom of the pool and come like a cork to the surface. I would lie flat on the water, strike out with my arms, and thrash with my legs. Then I would get to the edge of the pool and be safe. Thrash with my legs means he will strike the water violently and then he would try to come to the safer side of the pool, safer edge of the pool. I went down, down endlessly. I opened my eyes, nothing but water with a yellow glow, dark water that one could not see through, and then sheer, stark terror seized me. Now, sheer means great terror. Complete terror caught him. Terror. Now, he has explained what type of terror he was facing. Terror that knows no understanding, terror that knows no control, terror that no one can understand who has not experienced it. I was shrieking underwater. I was paralyzed underwater, stiff, rigid with fear. Even the screams in my throat were frozen. Only my heart and the pounding in my head said that I was still alive. So he was so much terrified that we readers can't understand what type of terror he has experienced because we have not experienced that terror. So he was shouting under the water. His body parts were stiff, rigid, and the voice couldn't reach out of the water. So only his heartbeat and the thumping in the head proves that he was all alive. And then, in the midst of the terror, came a touch of reason. I must remember to jump when I hit the bottom. At last, I felt the tiles under me. My toes reached out as if to grab them. I jumped with everything I had. So, though he was so much terrified, even then there was a touch of reason. He remembered that strategy that he has to jump to come up to the surface. But the jump made no difference. The water was still around me. I looked for ropes, ladders, water wings, some support material. Nothing but water came into his hands. A mass of yellow water held me. Stark terror, great terror took an even deeper hold on me like a great charge of electricity, like an electricity shock. So he was terrified at, at extreme level. I shook and trembled with fright. My arms wouldn't move, my legs wouldn't move. I tried to call for help, to call for mother. Nothing happened, and then strangely, there was light. I was coming out of the awful yellow water. At least my eyes were out. My nose was almost out too. Again, second time, his eyes were out, nose were out. Then what happened? Then I started down a third time. So his mouth was still inside for the second time also, and again he started journey towards the down in the swimming pool. So then I started down a third time. I sucked for air, wanted to breathe in the air, and got water. The yellowish light was going out. Then all the efforts ceased because third time he started moving down. So all the efforts stopped. I relaxed. Even my legs felt limp. Limp means lifeless because now there was no more energy in his legs, and a blackness swept over my brain. It wiped out fear. All fear was gone because he has lost everything. It wiped out terror. There was no more panic. Now he was not at all scared. No confusion was there. It was quiet and peaceful, nothing to be afraid of. This is nice to be drowsy. He was dozing, want to sleep, to go to sleep. No need to jump, too tired to jump, too tired of jumping. Now, no efforts were left, rather, no strength was left to make efforts. So, it's nice to be carried down gently, to float along in space. Tender arms around me, he felt as if some soft arms are there to hold me, tender arms like mother's. Now I must go to sleep. So he felt as if somebody has taken him in his hands like mother. I crossed to oblivion and the curtain of life fell. Crossed to oblivion means he was in a state of forgetfulness. He forgot everything, and a curtain of life fell. His eyes were closed, and he felt as if he is dead.